You're set to tee it up. You know, Chris, before we get to the game and the lineups and all that kind of thing, you were regularly at Reds Fantasy Camp for many, many years. And I would imagine you'll be coming back again in 2019.
I don't know, Tom. I've not been back there for a few years. I miss it terribly, but I'll tell you what, it is one fun week. If you've ever just thought about it, have a little hankering to get down there and put a big league uniform on, and I know you have, probably from time to time wish you could put a big league uniform on, Tom, and maybe it'll be a perfect opportunity for you before it gets too late.
Understand there's about 25 spots still available. I wouldn't do very well at that, but I would have fun. I know that. I'd have a lot of laughs. Because I'm basically a stiff when it comes to that kind of thing. That's why I'm sitting up here.
I don't believe it. I think you ought to go out and prove it.
Let's take a look at Diamondback starting lineup. Troy Labello, their manager, what a job he has done since taking over in Arizona, led him to 93 wins a year ago. There's David Peralta. He is in left field, Goldschmidt at first, and A.J. Pollock in center. Escobar came over from Minnesota, Souza Jr. in right, and Marte, the second baseman, a latter third of Ahmed Mathis doing the catching. Robbie Ray on the mound, and starting it for the Reds is right-hander Matt Harvey. His 15 prior starts, you'll see the numbers.
Now, some people are really still surprised that Harvey is still a member of the Reds after the trade deadline came and went. And the Reds, I think, wanted to keep the momentum going. They didn't want to still have such a void in their starting rotation that they could fill if Harvey continues to get better. He took the loss in the second game, Saturday day-night doubleheader. The Reds were in Washington for that. Gave up 5 runs and 9 hits over 4 innings. We'll see if he's able to throttle down the Arizona Diamondbacks.
First pitch fastball, and there's strike, and we are underway after nearly a 40-minute delay. We were supposed to start a little bit earlier tonight because of the Jake Owen concert, which will be on the field following the game. Popped up, and that is Dielson. So getting a chance to play some left field, and right away the ball finds him, Chris Welch.
You never have a chance of hiding. And, you know, we talked a lot, Tom, over about the opportunity that Dielson Herrera doesn't have by playing the infield. I mean, every infield space on this ball club is pretty much wrapped up, and he's a second baseman by trade, although he can play probably third base. So, hey, you want to see what he can do offensively, you've got to find a spot for him. Tonight he gets a chance in left field.
And look at this, he's going to get another chance. Got to run a long way, though. Billy's alongside of him, and Hamilton will go get it, as he does each and every night. He is something, yes indeed. He is something.
I'm not sure how StatCast ranks their star ranking on catches, but my oh my, did he go a long way to get this ball. It's not leaving the ballpark, but it would certainly have been extra bases. Wow. Pitcher's best friend right there.
No doubt about it. And you would like to think this will finally be the year that Hamilton wins the Gold Glove. It's almost impossible to believe he's not won one already, but he's not. If you're wondering about Herrera, this is his first start ever in his professional career in left field. He has played a total of 2 games this year out in left field, a total of 3 innings over those 2 games. But the first time ever he has started a game as a left fielder. That ball just ate Peraza up. That was a rocket off the bat of A.J. Pollock and a base hit. Well, they've hit 2 balls very, very sharply against Harvey. The drive by Goldschmidt, and now this.
Well, certainly a ball that is hit very hard, but you know, if you're playing it off to the side and the ball takes a higher or lower bounce than you anticipate, you're not going to make the catch. I know that there's some old school baseball people that watch the way that players are fielding ground balls today, and they're doing it so they don't get nabbed with an error. That ball goes off his chest, you have a chance to throw him out. If it goes off your chest and you don't throw him out, you get tabbed with an error. If you play it off to the side and it takes a bad hop, it's an automatic base hit.
And that it is scored, a base hit by Pollock. Eduardo Escobar playing in his 12th game as an Arizona Diamondback, and Harvey quickly ahead of him at no balls, 2 strikes. The Diamondbacks enter play tonight, still tied atop the National League West. Colorado beat the Dodgers last night, so Arizona and LA tied, identical 64 and 53 records. The Rockies are just 2.5 back. Escobar was tearing it up in Minnesota. We brought up last night, even though he's been gone for over 2 weeks, he still has the 2nd most doubles among all American League players. 37 doubles. He had 15 home runs and 63 runs batted in 97 games with the Twins this year. Started 2, did not go around. Jerry Lane, the crew chief, calling the balls and strikes tonight. Greg Gibson at first, Vic Carapazza, the umpire, at second, and Jordan Baker down at third. Pollock has 10 stolen bases. He's been thrown out twice. Missed a lot of time this year. Frequently injured Arizona. Uber talented player, but hurt seemingly every year or every other year. Missing huge chunks of time. Two and two on Escobar, and the fastball sails high. Full count. Dixon letting Harvey know he's going to back up behind the runner Pollock over there, who will get started on the pitch. And there's an at-bat that got away from Harvey. Well, his body language just doesn't look all that good out there to start this game. He's taking a lot of time, which he normally does not do in between pitches.
Looks like he's trying to find his release point for his breaking stuff. He's been throwing a lot of hard stuff here early on. In his last couple of starts, he's been trying to mix in his slower curveball a little bit to go along with the hard slider.
Souza Jr. looks at a first pitch fastball, or took a little off the fastball, and there's a strike.
It's a great first pitch. Most hitters are looking dead red on the first pitch. If you give them something other than that, and you can throw it for a strike, chances are they're going to take it.
Slider low and away. Two-out single by Pollock, a walk to Escobar. Arizona with 2 on and 2 out in the first inning. And now Harvey again ahead of an Arizona batter. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Souza had a pitch to hit right there, and he'd probably like to have that one back. So if you throw a fastball and the hitter fouls it straight back, and he's thinking, man, I'm locked in on that now. Throw me one more just like that. And probably going to go with the slider and see if he can get him to chase a little bit. Still has an advantage in the count.
Strike three call. There's a high fastball at 96, and that's all for Souza Jr. Big play made by Billy Hamilton, taking away extra bases from Goldschmidt. Reds are coming up.
By authority of the Cincinnati Reds, it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Reds coming to bat, bottom half of the first inning. 26-year-old left-hander Robbie Ray to face Jose Peraza. Boy, what a year Ray had last year. They had huge expectations for him this year. He's only making his 15th start. He was a 15-game winner with an earned run average of 2.89 last year.
Now, he's the kind of pitcher that makes scouts drool. Left-hander that throws the 94 to 96 miles an hour. Has a plus slider. He's got a plus curveball. He really doesn't throw much in the way of a changeup. I mean, he gets a lot of swings and misses.
Well, among all active pitchers over the last 3.5 years, he leads the major leagues, averaging over 11 strikeouts per 9 innings. And he strikes out Peraza. I mean, you're talking about a guy who strikes out more batters per 9 innings over the last 3 years than guys like Max Scherzer and Chris Sale.
Here's the high fastball, and this is the bread and butter right here. And if you start chasing it up in the zone like that, it kind of has a life of its own. It really takes off on you.
He's from down in Tennessee, just outside of Nashville. Went to Brentwood High School, did Robbie Ray. And here's Dilson Herrera. Herrera just 24 at bats with a big league club. Almost all of them, outside of 3 prior starts, have come as a pinch hitter. That's tough duty.
It is tough duty, especially when you come up out of the minor leagues having been used to being in the lineup every day. All of a sudden you're sitting. But what we've seen out of the little bit we have seen of Dilson Herrera here in the major leagues, he likes the ball up and he's got power.
You've seen Peraza, now Herrera. Jeanette to follow, Suarez, Irvin, Dixon, and Casale, Harvey, and Hamilton, the latter third. So the way Jim Riggleman scribbles the lineup card, and Dilson takes a 1-out walk. And Ray will do that. In 71 innings, he's walked now 38 batters.
Well, you're right about that. And where does that rank among other pitchers? His walk rate to right-handed hitters is 14%, which is way up there. That's the second worst among all starters that are in the National League.
You know, we talked about averaging the most strikeouts per 9 innings going back to 2016. He's averaged the second highest number of walks per 9 innings over that time frame. Almost 4 per 9 innings. So we should see a lot of what we've seen from the first 2 batters here tonight. Strikeouts and walks. And left-handers, it has not been a trip to the beach against this guy. Batting 136 against him. That's 4th best among all major league starters. Chris mentioned earlier the right-handers had pretty good success. They're batting up over 280. Two and one on Scooter Gennett. .3-1 fastball taken by Gennett right down the middle. 3 balls and 2 strikes. See if Herrera gets started. They have a left-hander. B have a left-hander who strikes out a lot of batters. Let's see if Herrera is indeed running 3-2. Nope. And a tapper foul. We'll do it again. Ray wanted the call, didn't get it from Jerry Lane. So strikeout, walk, walk. Why even bother to have a defense behind a pitcher like this? Pitching coach going to come out and visit the mound, but we'll tell you who is on defense. They haven't literally moved through the first 3 batters of the game. Presented by Ford, they'll go with Pollock in center, flanked by Peralta and Sousa Jr. Mentioned last night, Arizona among the very best defensive teams in all the baseball. Ahmed and Marte, slick fielding middle infielders, and Jeff Mathis behind the plate tonight. Mike Butcher is the pitching coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He was with the Angels of Anaheim for many, many years. Five of the 8 batters in this game have either walked or struck out.
Absolute outcome.
And you combine those 2 results with home runs, and those are starting to become more and more what you expect to see in the game of baseball in this day and age, and baseball is concerned about it.
Well, you're looking really at the career of Adam Dunn when you talk about those 3 outcomes. More than 55% of the time he came to the plate, he either hit a home run, struck out, or walked.
And I haven't seen any updated data from any of that. That went in the dirt, and both runners are going to advance.
Almost looked like a cross-up the way that Jeff Mathis, the catcher, went after that, and Torey Lovullo is probably looking at that right now. Watch Mathis looking for something. No, it wasn't. It was just a breaking ball down that spun, hit his shin guard, and got away from him.
Well, this is a man you want up there with runners on base and a chance to drive him in.
Well, that was not a good catching effort by Mathis. Tried to backhand that ball, and the ball went off the back of his glove.
Another slider down and in, 2-1. Suarez, the co-leader, along with Javier Baez of the Chicago Cubs for most RBIs among all National League players, sitting at 88. Trying to give Matt Harvey an early lead. Suarez against left-handed pitching. It has been full ownership so far this year. He has the third highest batting average in Major League Baseball against lefties, second highest on base percentage, the fifth highest slugging percentage. Nolan Arenado is the only player that is better in all three of those categories. Pulled foul. Joel Luckenbach, statistician, he's come ready to go tonight, Chris. He takes off now about every other homestand. So
well, you know, I think the rain
ready
delay
to go.
Rain delay, he got him a little extra prep time. That means you'll be on top of your game.
Well, you know, he's been a man of the high seas in the Caribbean. Spent a little time in Florida. So good to have him back. Must have had some downtime on the cruise. 2-2 pitch to Suarez.
That's the key right there, laying off that high fastball, and you see where Mathis wanted it. Robbie Ray threw it basically exactly where he wanted it. We'll show you to you with a little trailer right there, and got to make this guy bring the ball down.
Two away in the inning. Strikeout, walk, walk, strikeout. That's a big out for Ray.
After missing with the high fastball, comes with the slider. See the spin on that ball right there, and he does exactly what you want, which is try to drop it on the back foot of a right-handed hitter.
It's up to Phillip Ervin if the Reds are to get on the board here in the bottom of the first. Runners at second and third, two are out. Ervin has swung the bat very well, hitting at .295 in his 88 at bats. Down a strike. He went 0 for 3, struck out 3 times in the game here last night. He did draw a walk.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks really kept a very consistent approach in how they were trying to pitch to Phillip Ervin. They were basically staying away and never really did give him anything on the inner part of the plate. He's got a big swing, loves the ball up in the air.
That one will be out of play. Goldschmidt giving it a try, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes on Ervin. Broken bat, one hopper will end the inning. Red strand 2 on a couple of walks. End of 1, no score. Going to look at the outfield with Herrera getting his first start as a pro in left field. We brought up in the first inning, and Brandon Dixon getting the start over at first tonight for Votto. Still being bothered by a tender knee, and somebody tough left-hander to go up against anyway.
You know, even with a tough left-hander on the mound, though, Tom, I got to figure that Votto, his knee's got to be hurting. He's a guy that likes to play every day. You know, he'd rather hit against the tough pitchers than he would the bottom of the rotation guys, just because he wants to prove who he is.
Sure.
So just like it happened the other night for Votto, as the game went on, his knee got, you know, stiffer and stiffer.
Ketel Marte to lead things off. Earlier today, the Cubs were defeated by the Washington Nationals 9-4. Brewers and the Braves already in the third inning, a 1-1 game. Marte 10 home runs. He has 18 doubles. He has a whopping 10 triples. They play in a division where the 3-base hit ballparks are made for the 3-base hits in San Diego, San Francisco, Arizona, Colorado. Not as much Dodger Stadium, but those other 4 are about as good as it gets because they're so big. You see a lot of triples inside that National League West. Three-two pitch popped up left side of the infield. That's easy for Suarez. 1 out. Nick Ahmed, we talked about him last night. I mean, the batting average, not much to write home about, but you know, his extra base hit numbers are pretty impressive. 44 of them. 16 home runs, 24 doubles, has 4 triples. Not much of an on-base percentage. Right at 300. Big league play made down there just below our booth. Beautifully done. Guy came ready to play. Well, you sit here and watch Ahmed at the plate. He's got a little bail and wail in him. So you can see if you make a mistake on the inner part of the plate, there's a reason why he has a lot of extra base hits.
And that would also explain the low batting average.
I mean, take a look at that left front foot, man. He is flying and letting it rip.
Yeah, that makes for an easy scouting report right there, because a guy that's not going to make an adjustment, just waiting for what, you know, would be a cookie right down the middle or on the inner part of the plate. The old saying, don't throw it where he just left.
Both of these starting pitchers are really piling up the pitch count, seemingly unable to get hitters out before a 2-2 or even a 3-2 count. And in Harvey's case, outside of getting Souza looking on a fastball on the upper part of the strike zone, he got ahead of three of the batters in that first inning and could just not put them away. Two and two the count once more on Ahmed. Got him swinging. Threw a fastball in, and he couldn't get it.
The second strikeout here in an inning and 2/3 for Matt Harvey. Both of them on that four-seam fastball. And you can see Ahmed swing underneath it. That's the idea of the four-seamer. You put a little spin on it, backspin that is, and the ball just does not have a tendency to sink as much as the human eye tells you it will. And that's why you get a lot of swings underneath that pitch. Now back in the old days, they used to call that a rising fastball, but physicists have figured out that it actually doesn't rise. It just looks like it does. And I'm taking their word for it.
Check swing and a miss by Mathis. Strike three called, got him on a 96-mile-per-hour fastball looking. So a tidy 1-2-3 inning and a couple of strikeouts for Harvey. your experience to catch every moment this year. You can now stream Reds games with your Fox Sports Go through the MLB At Bat app. Download MLB At Bat today. Late getting started here tonight along the banks of the Ohio. Boy, it is turning into a beautiful night. And tomorrow is supposed to be just incredible. Very low humidity. Temperatures in the mid-80s. 110 game tomorrow. In fact, they're talking about having similar kind of weather through the entire Cleveland series, which will begin here on Monday night. Looking forward to having the Indians in town. See our old buddy Tom Hamilton and Matt Underwood.
Rick Manning
and the whole gang. Good guys. Terry Francona. Like the Tribe. I root for the Tribe over in the American League. They're an easy team to like.
Yes, they are. Especially if you're a front runner.
And I'll tell you, there's nothing better than that. My son and I were driving down the road the other day, and the car in front of us had a North Carolina decal, you know, on the back windshield in one corner, and on the other corner had an Ohio State Buckeyes decal. The first thing my son said to me says, "Now there's a front runner."
He cuts right to the quick, doesn't he?
Right to it. Dixon went around on the appeal. 3 strikeouts already for Robbie Ray. And that's that high fastball. If guys chase it, they're not going to get it.
Kind of funny, both these pitchers specialize in basically the same type pitches, which is everything hard. Hard fastball, hard slider. Although Ray will change speeds on his breaking ball a little bit, Harvey will do that as well. Harvey will mix in occasionally a changeup. Ray really doesn't do that much at all. It is pretty much Powder River for Robbie Ray.
Kurt Casale, the batter, has done a nice job for the Reds. 65 at bats, a .292 hitter, couple of home runs, 5 doubles, 7 knocked in. Big shift put on Casale. Diamondbacks will do a lot of that, and he'll hit right over into center field, a base hit. First hit for the Reds, already their 3rd base runner.
High fastball, a little bit on the end of the bat. Base knock.
He's done a good job for this team. He's the kind of guy you could have around for a while.
You know, I was just thinking the same thing. That you know, if you're not going to be a star at any one position, being a backup catcher, you can etch yourself out a very nice career.
Tell you, that's a pretty sharp move right there made by the catcher. They end up calling that ball foul. But, man, he comes out of there, puts a tag, and they'd have had an easy double play on the back end.
And they were yelling along the way, tag, tag, so that they knew it was not a forced play. If he gets that ball, I don't know why it was not a fair ball anyway.
Having a hard time understanding how that's not a fair ball.
Well, it's not where it bounces, it's where the ball is when he picks it up, and it certainly looked like a fair ball to us. But we'll take the break here, the Reds will.
Jerry Lane all over it.
This will give us a pretty good look right here. You know what? Looks like the ball had some spin on it, and maybe by the time the catcher, Jeff Mathis, picked it up, it was over foul territory. Only part of the baseball has to be on that line, though. I'll tell you, Robbie Ray can't be the easiest guy to punt on because he throws hard, balls all over the place, and you're not even sure where he's going to throw it.
Harvey has not had a single hit wearing a Reds uniform. He had 2 hits in his first 7 at-bats pitching for the Mets. He is 0 for 29 since joining the Reds. His 2 sacrifice punts came wearing a Reds uniform. One out, 1 on, 2-2 on Harvey. Well, you brought it up earlier. I mean, for a pitching coach, this guy has to be painful to watch pitch. Just have no idea where the ball's going. I mean, some of the numbers we've given are really, really good. He had a great year last year. He just rears back and fires a fastball to strike out Harvey, and that's his 4th strikeout of the game. You know, they keep waiting for Ray to make that real big jump. Last year was a significant jump from the year before, but they were thinking that would be the norm, and at least this year. And he's battled through, you know, injuries this year, in fairness to him. Last year he got hit with a line drive, you may remember, in the head.
Yeah, that happened in July, and he basically spent an entire month on the disabled list. In fact, now he still wears a protective insert in his hat on the left side of his cap.
Very fortunate young man.
Yeah.
He got hit on a line drive that was clocked at about 108 miles per hour last year. Hamilton fouling it back, one of the heroes here last night.
This is kind of interesting, really, because he's got the 5th highest swing and miss rate, but he gives up a huge opponent batting average on balls in play, 2nd highest in the big leagues.
Pollock is there and diving to avoid the collision with Souza Jr. 1 hit, 1 left. We played 2, and we are scoreless in downtown Cincinnati. A night of their own. It's a week this coming Thursday night. You get dinner and drinks. You meet the Reds coaches. You take swings in the batting cages. I mean, there's a lot going on, and it is a great time. I promise you, if you're looking for maybe a girls' night out, ladies' night out, sign up today at reds.com/baseball101. That is this coming Thursday night, the 16th. I promise you will have a great time. No score, we begin the 3rd. Now, Robbie Ray was a guy who had 13 hits last year. He was nearly a 250 batter. But this year he is 0 for 25. And Harvey falls behind in the count at 2 balls, no strikes. 9-1-2 in the Arizona order. Harvey has allowed 1 hit. He's walked 1, struck out 3. On the ground to Brandon Dixon, out number 1. Here comes David Peralta, the Arizona leadoff batter. He popped up to short left field his first time up. Harvey makes a nice play to come get it. Well done by Harvey. Peralta can get up that line.
Well, he can, and Harvey can throw it too. It may have been a little bit easier play for Kirk Casale, but Harvey was zoning right in on it. Got a good break off the mound right there, and nicely done. So got a chance for a very easy inning right here.
1 more out to go. He faces Goldschmidt, who drove 1 to deep left center. Great play once again made by Billy Hamilton, leaping up and into the wall to take away extra bases. Don't know if it had been a home run. Looked like it might have been just short of a homer. But certainly a ball hit a long way and very hard by Goldschmidt, the star first baseman of these Diamondbacks. .2-0 fastball taken for a strike. So a lot of people here tonight, yes, baseball fans, but you can tell there are a lot of country music fans and Jake Owen fans. He will be playing the concert right after the game tonight. And you just tell looking around, and really the attire at so many of the folks here tonight. I mean, there are a lot of people dressed up. Big night tonight, concert night. Maybe not them. Three and two on Goldschmidt. Hook to the left side. This will be a 1-2-3 inning, 2 in a row for Harvey. He's retired 7 straight, no score.
IGS bringing the energy. On this date back in 1984, the Reds retired Johnny Bench's number 5. Bench remains the club's all-time home run leader with 389, RBIs with 1,376, 14-time All-Star, won 10 Gold Gloves. He's a member of the Reds and Baseball's Hall of Fame. And oh, by the way, he's got that big statue at the entrance. Gentlemen, one heck of a catcher, the best of all time.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. JB cutting it loose, won all those Gold Gloves, of course, and he's been around a little bit more frequently here of late. I had a really nice article on Johnny Bench. Some of you may have seen it in Sports Illustrated a couple of weeks ago, where he has sole custody of his 2 very young sons. And, you know, JB always great sense of humor, and, you know, he's basically raising these 2 boys by himself, and how he's old enough to be the father, if not grandfather, of most of the other parents that go to school with his children. And there were some really funny quotes in there by Bench, and the difference between, you know, having kids so many years ago. In fact, one of his kids works here at the ballpark. We see Bobby Bench all the time.
Sure do.
It was a nice article, really nice. Peralta pops it up into short right. 1 away to begin the 3rd of his scoreless game. In fact, Bobby Bench runs the camera, high first base camera here at Great American Ballpark. Good looking young man.
He's about 6 feet 7 inches tall.
His mom, Laura, very tall. She's awesome. Great lady. Bobby looking good. Thank God he looks like Mom.
Got Mom's brains, too.
Well, you'd like to think so. Swing and a miss by Dilson Herrera, who drew a walk in the 1st inning. Reds have 1 hit. Ray walked Herrera and Jeanette consecutively after retiring Peralta in the 1st. A wild pitch sent the runners, both of them, into scoring position, but he got a huge strikeout of Suarez for the 2nd out of the inning, and then got Urban on a broken bat 1 hopper to second base.
Might be early to say this, but it looks like Ray's beginning to get a good feel of that release point on that slider anyway. 2 in a row there he's thrown to Herrera. And you get 2 strikes. You want to add a little bit more. You hump it up a little bit, and you bounce it in the dirt.
Well, he's like a lot of the tennis players you hear out there. Every time he throws a ball, you'll be able to hear on our microphones down there close to the playing field. He grunts every time he cuts it loose. That ball tagged by Herrera, but there to get it. Just 1 step of the warning track. Herrera like to have that one back. You could see he knew he just missed it. 2 down. Arlo's whole team together. Take a look at this. Reds have 4 players in the top 25 in base hits among all National Leaguers. Jeanette 3rd. How about Peralta? I think that would surprise a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Sure would.
And Votto and Suarez. Of course, that's the Reds infield. And we have documented through this entire year, offensively speaking, how good this infield has been on offense and most of the time on defense. I mean, Jeanette's playing with a sore shoulder. Has a hard time throwing, but gets to a lot of balls, and it's certainly never from a lack of effort. Peralta, very good range, settling in. Suarez, an outstanding defender at 3rd. And, you know, Votto gets to just about, I mean, everything he gets to, he basically makes a play on.
And that's why Dilson Herrera is getting a chance to play in left field, because there is no room at the end here in the infield. Reds will be contemplating perhaps what they're going to do with Scooter Gennett, if anything, after the end of the year.
A 1-2-3 inning for Robbie Ray. End of 3, no score.
Friday, August 17th, see your Red Legs take on the Giants for as low as $12. Plus, stick around after the game for a spectacular post-game fireworks show. It's all presented by Sprint. For tickets, visit Reds.com.
Had the big fireworks show after the game last night. Snuck them in fact, before. Boy, there were areas of our, greater Cincinnati community that were just leveled with very, very serious storms last night. Now, some of them in downtown came in very late at night. Maybe some of you that were up around midnight last night. But there are some suburbs to the north and to the northeast and straight east that were just wrecked. And I mean a lot of damage done to homes and neighborhoods, trees down, power out. Chris, your power was out last night. I think Danny Graves may have just caught that foul ball. There's a base hit into right field by Pollock to begin the Arizona 4th inning.
Well, it's a small window, but the window of opportunity open there for Danny Graves.
Nice. He hung on. Attaboy, Danny.
All right.
Been fun having him around here the last couple days.
Filling in for Cowboy while he takes a few days off to be with the family. Your dad taking the homestand off.
I don't think we're allowed to shoot him on television anymore. So a leadoff single by Pollock here in the Diamondbacks' 4th inning of a scoreless game. Harvey falls behind Escobar, 2 balls and no strikes. Escobar walked his first time up. hooked foul. I tell you, there are some great pictures over in that booth next door. There is one, in fact, of you over there.
I don't think that's really a picture of me.
Well, it sure does look like it. Let's put it that way. I mean, you saw my dad there. I think that may have been George Washington. I'm not sure with his face in there. But you are imposed, I believe, on Barry Manilow.
Somebody got a little carried away with Photoshop.
I'm pretty sure yours is with Barry Manilow.
And I think you're over there too, maybe on the back of a milk carton
Yeah.
that says, "Has anybody seen me?" It's a lot of fun to be had.
Quite creative. Quite creative. 2-2. And 2 on Escobar. He really made Harvey work the last time. Harvey got ahead of him, kept fouling balls off, and wound up drawing a walk. And this one is tattooed into right, and it's 2-0 Arizona. First home run for Escobar since joining the Diamondbacks, and he gives them a 2-0 fourth inning lead.
He got one that looked like it was pretty much right down the center of the plate, and he jumped all over it. He stepped out of the box on a 2-0 pitch and just really didn't even look at it. And he was ready when he stepped in there on the 2-1. You know, up until last year, he was basically a slap-hitting, switch-hitting infielder that had a launch angle of around 14%, which basically gives you ground ball after ground ball. But at the beginning of last year, all of a sudden, he started lifting the ball, and he has hit a bunch of home runs. First one here with the Diamondbacks, but all the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, he had 15 this year already for Minnesota. So you're looking at a player who, you know, you combine the RBI total, Escobar now. I mean, you're looking at a guy with 65 runs batted in, 16 home runs.
But they really like the way he plays his defense.
Yep.
And of course, that's really the kind of the calling card of this year's version of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Relief pitching, defense. We talked about that last night, but they've saved defensively more runs than any other team in baseball.
And their starting pitching has been good. I mean, it's not like they got a bunch of stiffs out there, and they've got two guys at the top of the rotation that are as good as anybody's in baseball, really. At least the way they're pitching now.
Yeah.
In Patrick Corbin and, of course, Zach Greinke, their ace.
And the Reds will miss both those guys.
That's right. And I tell you what, I thought the guy last night looked pretty good. I thought he looked really good,
yes,
Buchholz.
I agree.
Harvey with his fourth strikeout of the night. And now he'll face Marte, who popped up to Suarez back in the second inning. Strike one. Rockies and the Dodgers are getting started early out west tonight. Must be a 6:30 game. Or no, earlier than that actually. It must be a 6 o'clock game out there in Denver. They're already in the bottom of the first inning. Dodgers scored in the top of the first. This ball in the air to deep left center, but Herrera dancing around it a little bit and able to haul it in. So a couple of fly balls out Dielson's way, and he's 2 for 2. Well, he's an easy young man to like. I mean, it doesn't take, speaks very good English, great smile, easy to talk to, Herrera. See what his future holds for the Reds. Once such a highly touted, thought of prospect in the New York Mets organization, came to the big leagues at 20 years young. And Chris, it's been a long road to get back here through a lot of injuries, especially to his shoulder. Three and one on Nick Ahmed.
Swinging like you're getting a fastball and getting a slider. And when you're stepping one way and then the pitcher hits the outside corner, you've got basically zero chance of making contact.
Fair ball. Suarez on the run. Good pick at the other end by Dixon. But damage done for the first time by either side tonight. A 2-run big fly by Escobar. 2-0 D-backs. Power stacks. Maryland Bunyard. Hope I'm saying that right, Maryland. From Lebanon. Beautiful country up there. Home of the Golden Land. You'd win that Tundra, Maryland, thanks to your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Show your Reds pride. The Indians are coming to town in a battle for the Ohio Cup. And we're going to tell you about buying the Ohio Cup ticket package presented by the Ohio Lottery. You get an exclusive Reds t-shirt. Great t-shirt, by the way. The Natty versus the Land. August 14th game. This limited edition t-shirt is only available through this offer. And Suarez hit by a pitch to begin the bottom of the fourth with the Reds down 2. When we were up in Cleveland, I think at the time there were only about, what, 4 or 5 of those shirts that had been printed up yet. And I mean, the Reds players, every one of them wanted one of those t-shirts. Here's Phillip Ervin. Ervin, a broken bat, soft one hopper, stranding 2 to end the first inning. And that's even really the only threat whatsoever. And it was a big threat. Reds had second and third and the leader in RBIs in the National League at the plate. And Robbie Ray was able to strike out a Eugenio Suarez and then got Ervin to win the inning.
Kind of the same way that the bat went last time for Phillip Ervin. A couple of sliders down and in, got ahead of him. And then a fastball that broke his bat ended up being a little ground ball to second baseman. Robbie Ray originally drafted by the Washington Nationals in 2010. That was the year where Bryce Harper was the first pick. The Nationals took him, and Ray was probably the second most famous player taken by the Nationals that year. Traded then to Detroit and then on to Arizona.
Beautiful night. Saturday night, good crowd. 2-2 on the way to Ervin. Nowhere near the plate. Talked about Jerry Narron being the bench coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks, former manager of the Reds. Down the left field line, this will be a fair ball to the corner. Suarez on his way to third. They're going to hold him there on a double by Ervin. No, they're going to wave him around. Here comes a throw offline. Thought at first they were holding him up and decided to go ahead and wave him in, and a double by Ervin makes it a 2-1 game.
Phillip Ervin was all over that mistake slider that Robbie Ray tossed up there, left it about thigh high. And boy, did he ever hit it hard. Right down the left field line it goes, and Suarez, reading it all the way, is going to come around. And at first, you're right, Billy Hatcher had the stop sign up. I think it may have just taken the Diamondbacks just a little bit longer. They drop it out in left field, and that's why you can see Suarez slow down one step and then speed back up again and doesn't even have to slide.
All right, well, now you have a runner at second, still nobody out. That's a tying run up there at second base. And here's Brandon Dixon. He looks at ball one. Dixon struck out swinging his first time up. Ray has thrown 38 strikes and 31 balls.
I've been trying to think of who he reminds me of. And he pitches a little bit like Al Leiter. You know, kind of everything hard. I think maybe Sean Estes, if you remember Sean Estes.
Sure, very well.
Had a good arm, big over the hand, top fastball, pitched mostly for the Giants. Actually, he pitched a little bit for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yep. Pitched a little bit for the Reds.
Yes, he did.
Good guy, too, Sean Estes. I remember our wives were having children at roughly the same time, and we were going through all those baby classes together. And Sean Estes and his wife. Real pleasant guy. Easy-going guy. 2-2. Thank goodness there's a screen down there. Dixon went after that high fastball this last time up. Tried to hold back on the swing, but went around too far for strike 3. Fastball there, missing. We are only in the 4th inning, and Ray is closing in on 75 pitches.
Which is exactly opposite of what happened last night, really, between Anthony DeStefani and Clay Buchholz. Both those guys very efficient with the way they went about their business last night.
What a game by DeStefani. He was just simply outstanding here last night. 7 innings, 7+, 3 hits, did not walk a batter, struck out 9. Boy, was he good. Hughes and Iglesias behind him. Straight up in the air. And Peralta stepping in front of Pollock. And that will allow Irvin to advance. I'm not sure if Pollock catches that ball, that Irvin tries it, but with a left-handed throwing Peralta, he's running away from the third base bag. Well, maybe he tags anyway. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, normally you see Pollock yelling for it, and here comes Peralta yelling for it. And boy, Pollock gives him a look after this is all over, like, what are you doing out here? You know, normally if you see one outfielder call off another, it's normally the center fielder calling off one of the wing guys.
He's still looking over there.
Yeah.
Now. Infield in. Irvin at third. It's a big batter here. Casale, you have the pitcher due up next. And you have the tying run 90 feet away with 1 out in the inning. Casale dumped a single into center field his first time up. His only time up. Breaking ball low, 1 ball and 1 strike on Casale. Harvey rooting on his battery mate, drawing in infield for the Diamondbacks. And another breaking ball. Statcast AI. Pretty much everything center left, powered by AWS. Took something off there at 84 miles per hour and is swing and a miss.
Now they've really kept the breaking ball on Casale this time up. Casale got the first hit the Reds had. In the second inning with 1 out, he had a ball off a fastball, just kind of dropped it into center field. They're looking for a punch out right here, and then the pitcher coming up next.
That's what he got. That's strike 3.
And he stayed with the breaking ball. This time bounced one down, and Casale couldn't hold back.
Well, let's see if Matt Harvey can pick up his first hit as a Red. Be a good time to get it. He's 0 for 30 as a Red, 2 for 37 on the year. That ball gets away, and Urban's going to stay put. One and 0 on Harvey. 2 balls and no strikes. Two and two. And that'll be a base hit. How about that? The first is a Red for Harvey, and it ties a game. Yes, sir, says Matt Harvey.
Now, to paraphrase the old left-hander, you step to the plate with a bat, you're dangerous. And he is right there. He finally got a fastball. He just put the wood to it right there and was able to drop it right in front of the right fielder.
2 nights in a row now you get big base hits by the pitcher. Remember, DeSclafani had a big hit last night.
You know, Tom, we were talking about this a little bit last night about how it seems like all the defensive shifts that you see are basically done by the infield. I mean, dramatic shifts where you get almost every player on the infield on one side of the field and you're giving guy the other side. But the outfields have basically remained the same.
Yep.
And here you've got a guy that, you know, is a pitcher, not known to drive the ball very hard to opposite field, and you're still playing him relatively deep.
I thought the same thing as soon as you were about to bring it up.
And I'm sure Robbie Ray's thinking the same thing. And I asked one of the Reds analytics guys before the ball game, I said, what's the value of a double? For instance, if a ball goes over an outfielder's head, he's going to get a double, rather than a single dropping in front. And the answer is basically 1.5 times the value of a single, a double is. So there you go.
Well, I'll tell you what, that'll have your eyes spinning when you go to bed tonight. Pie Wednesdays. By your local Ford dealer, Ford. Go further. And by Cincinnati Children's, now ranked number 2 in the nation by U.S. News and World Report. It is a 2-2 ball game as the Diamondbacks score 2 in the top of the 4th, and the Reds answer right back in the bottom of the 4th. Hey, we got to get in a couple of birthday wishes here tonight, Chris. She is dialed into every game. Her name is Thelma Mason. Thelma today celebrates her 101st birthday. Thelma Mason, God bless you, young lady. And we'll look forward to celebrating number 102 on this day next year.
Happy birthday indeed.
Now, that's one of 2 birthdays we're celebrating, both 101. Because yesterday, Hazel Slaughterbeck from the Spittler family up in Eaton, Ohio. Hazel has been a lifelong Reds fan, watches every game. Pete Rose, her all-time favorite. She turned 101 yesterday. Hazel Slaughterbeck. Happy 101st, and we'll celebrate with you number 102 next year as well.
Indeed we will.
Amen. All right, this is an inning where Harvey has really got to get down to business and get through this one quickly. He's had a couple of those. He's had a couple of long ones. You've got 8, 9, and 1. Mathis is hitting .211. Ray is 0 for 26.
Well, they haven't really mounted much of a, offense against Harvey. The 2 runs they got came out a single and then a home run. But he's thrown a lot of pitches because they've been a lot of swings and misses, some foul balls.
And a lot of this. A lot of 3 and 2 counts. Or 2 and 2 counts with foul ball after foul ball, as you mentioned. Boy, it makes you wonder what in the world is Mathis waiting on. That is his 2nd time tonight. He has looked at a fastball for strike 3 right down the middle of the plate. I mean, through 4 innings last night, you mentioned Buchholz, how efficient he was. He had thrown 42 pitches. Robbie Ray tonight through 4 innings has thrown 87 pitches.
I can just hear Jack Billingham saying those exact same words to you in January during the Reds fantasy camp. What are you looking for? You just took strike 3 right down the middle, Tom Brenneman.
I can hear him saying it already, too.
What an effort by Dilson Herrera, but he didn't get it.
And it'll be a double for Robbie Ray, which is 1.5 times more important than the single.
That ball slicing off the bat of a left-hander right there, and that's a good effort there by Herrera. Wow.
Look, you brought up that double thing versus the single thing. I'm being totally sincere. I mean, I was tongue-in-cheek a minute ago when I said my eyes would be spinning, putting my head on the pillow tonight, trying to figure that out. Okay? But for some of us, as this ball is in the air to center, Billy will run this one down for the 2nd out. Ray will stay at second base. Could you try seriously and explain, and I know that you weren't the one that answered the question, you asked the question, but how is a double 1.5 times more important than a single?
I think in expected run value, if you have and I think it also varies as to how many outs there are in the inning. So, I mean, if you get a double with 2 outs, it may not be as valuable as a double, to lead off the inning. But that's basically the way they rounded up, that, double's worth 1.5 times what a single is. I think there's a expected run matrix out there, Tom, where they list all the different situations where you have nobody on and nobody out, what your expected runs are for that inning, and then if you have bases loaded and nobody out, how many runs should you score, and so on. So we've talked about that in the past sometimes when, you know, say a ball club gets the bases loaded and they don't score any runs at all, where the expected runs on the situation like that might be 2.7 or something. So
the expected run value of a single, I am being told by Joe Luckup, is 0.7. The expected run value of a double is 1.0.
Well,
about a time and a half.
Okay.
Almost. Gone swinging is Goldschmidt. I'll tell you though, I will be thinking about that tonight. I'm telling you. And it's going to be a late one.
Extra inning, so you start the inning in minor leagues with a man on second. So a line drive, that's an out, and he steps on second base, double play. That's one pitch, 2 outs. Next batter, line drive to third base, that's 3 outs. A 2-pitch inning for the Rome Braves in minor league baseball. Have you ever seen that done before? And that's one of those questions for Chris Welsh. Chris, can you have a 2-pitch inning in Major League Baseball? I don't know the answer to that question, but 2 pitches, 3 outs, minor league baseball. I know you love that, Tom Brenneman.
I do, and I'm going to get back to that in a second. But Chris, what would be the answer to that question? Is that possible?
Yeah, you could do that by picking a runner off or two. Say you had a few runners on base, you could have a no-pitch inning. Oh, no, you couldn't. They'd have to get on base somehow. No, I don't think you could. You could have a 3-pitch inning.
You could be a reliever and you could come into a game and not do it. Pick 3 guys off in a row.
Well, absolutely, but the pitcher who started the inning,
I understand that.
So you technically can't.
Okay.
But in minor league baseball, because they do start, what is it, after the 12th inning?
10th inning.
The 10th inning, they start with a runner at second base and nobody out.
You know, there was recently an article, a lengthy piece that was done about that rule, and they went to specifically sort of old school baseball guys who played in the major leagues for a long time, who are now minor league managers. And there were 4 or 5 of them. And it was one of the most interesting stories I have read in a long time. Each of the 5 came into the season when they implemented this rule that I'm not going to like it. It's not baseball. That's not the way it's supposed to go. Don't like it at all. All 5 of them, when all was said and done, absolutely love the rule now. Base hit into center field. by Peraza in a 2-2 game. I mean, it was so interesting to hear the way they had changed their line of thinking, and now they've fallen in love with the rule. Each of the 5 also went on to add they believe it will never happen in Major League Baseball because the Players Union is far too strong to allow it. And they think it's a mistake. That it's a good rule.
Interesting.
All right, now Dielson Herrera. Big swing and a miss. He's drawn a walk and lined out to left field. Peraza last stole a base on Tuesday night in New York. That was his only stolen base over nearly 1 month of games played, and he's been getting on base a lot. He had that one little stretch where he cooled off. Nasty slider again by Ray. Bottom fell out of that pitch. 1-2 on Herrera.
When he stays on top of it, it does have the bottom fall out on it.
One ball and 2 strikes on Dielson Herrera, leadoff single, and there goes Peraza, and a ground ball foul wide of third.
Hey, you know, I got thinking about that 2-pitch inning that was down in the minor leagues between West Virginia and Rome, Georgia. I think, Tom, nowadays, you know, with the automatic intentional pass rule, where you don't even throw a pitch.
How about that?
You could certainly, I mean, you could technically have a no-pitch inning where, say, you throw over to a base and the runner interferes with the fielder trying to field the throw and he gets called out and so on. Or you could have a 2-pitch inning or a 1-pitch inning where somebody hits into a ground ball triple play. So anything's possible nowadays.
Interesting.
Would you spin on that a little while before you go to bed?
I am. Now that one, I know that one I don't have to, because that one, you know, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry there. But I mean, you start getting into 1.3 and 1.8. I mean, that's when the shades come down. One ball and 2 strikes, 97th pitch in this game, and there's nobody out in the 5th inning for Robbie Ray. 5th inning, nobody out. Brad Ziegler getting loose in the bullpen.
That what you just saw, that little step-off move, is probably the best move that Robbie Ray has. I mean, there's not a lot of deception in the throw over right there, but since Peraza already had shown that he wants to run in this at-bat, we're going to try to chase him back a little bit.
Herrera lost the bat on a foul ball back out of play. That almost went to Danny Graves again. lengthy at bat down there for Herrera. Peralta running, throw is high, and he easily steals second base and then slides by the bag and is tagged out. Wow.
That's really the replay review, the official replay review has caused two things in baseball. Number one, the fielders to field the ball and make a tag differently than they used to. And then the other is that runners are being taught to not lose contact with the base, even if you think you're safe. And I think the Reds now are going to ask for a replay review. And it didn't take long at all now for Jim Riggleman to make that call to the home plate umpire, Jerry Lane. We'll see if we see if he came off the bag or not. You can see the umpire in the very upper right-hand part of your screen right there. And one of the changes that I've seen, Tom, over this year with the replay review is the positioning of the umpires are a little bit different. There are some crews where the umpires have always been taught to stay inside the infield. Like in a two-man crew, you've got the first base umpire coming in behind the mound. Well, they still do that here, but there are some crews where that umpire at second base now goes behind second base because he feels he's got a better look at the play for exactly what we saw right there. And I think that the second base umpire just may have been screened out of whether he got off the bag or not. He saw his right foot get off the bag. And you see the right footer go off the bag and then with the left foot. But if you're standing behind the bag, like where our camera is, you're going to get a much better look at that. Wow.
All right, so the call stands. Peralta is out. 10th pitch in this at bat, meanwhile, coming up to Dielson Herrera, the 100th pitch of the game by Ray, and it's ball 4. Oh, wait a minute. 3-2, I beg your pardon. It was a 2-2 count. So now it's 3-2. 11th pitch of this at bat. Coming up to Herrera. Slow roller to Ahmed, the shortstop. And just like that, you go from a runner at second and nobody out to 2 outs and nobody on.
Well, the Reds have been pretty good, really, as far as replay reviews and which ones that they have had overturned or not. They've had now 27 overall replay reviews this year, and they've been able to overturn 12 of those. I'm just not so sure that that was really the spirit of the rule of instant replay, is to hold the tag on the runner when he's clearly beaten the throw to the base, and he comes off an 1/8 of an inch or 1/64 of an inch, and he gets called out because of that. I'm not the first one to make that observation.
Yeah.
And if you're wondering what is the most common type of challenge, it's like the one we just saw, the tag play.
That's why you're really not even teaching the game the right way anymore, Chris, with the rules being the way they are. If you're not teaching all of your infielders just to keep that tag all the time on a body part.
Absolutely right.
I mean, that's become part of how you're teaching and coaching the game of baseball now.
Well, it's funny because there's no replay review at any other level except Major League. So a lot of times you're teaching players all the way up the ladder, from amateur baseball, including high school and college, all the way in the minor leagues, to tag a certain way. Well, when you're in the minor leagues now, that's one thing you've got to prepare for, something that they don't have in the minors, official replay. Keep the tag on them.
Popped up left side of the infield. This will be all for the Reds. The third baseman, Escobar, has it. We have played 5 innings here tonight. A 2-2 game.
Geico back in 2008, Adam Dunn is traded by the Reds to the Diamondbacks for minor league right-hander Dallas Buck and 2 players to be named later. Gentlemen, Dunn was leading Major League Baseball in home runs at the time of the trade, and when you look back on that deal, Tom and Chris, you gotta shake your head. That's maybe one of the worst in Reds history.
Oh. Yeah. Two-two ball game. Three, 4, and 5 against Harvey here in the Arizona 6th of a 2-2 game. It starts with Pollock. Then Escobar will hit the home run back in the 4th, and Sousa Jr. Each team with 2 runs, each team with 4 hits.
Oh, good change up there. One of the rare ones that Harvey's thrown tonight, but he had great arm action on it.
7 strikeouts in the game for Matt. He's looked good tonight. Started off a little slow, but ever since then he's been pretty good.
How big, you really wonder how that that catch that Billy Hamilton had in the first inning. Because after that catch, there was a single and a walk. And that would be an inning that could perhaps get away from you. And he settled right down.
Here's Escobar. He hit that 2-run home run to right field for the 2 Arizona runs in the 4th inning. He walked his first time up. Straight up in the air. Peralta there for the 2nd out. Michael Lorenzen up and throwing in the Reds' pen. This will be the 94th pitch of the game, coming up by Matt Harvey. Sousa Jr. has struck out looking and struck out swinging. Broken back. And Dixon got a good jump on it. And a 1-2-3 inning for Harvey. 6 innings of 2-run baseball tonight for Matt Harvey. On Instagram, keep up with the game highlights and so much more. You can follow us at Fox Sports OH. The night is over for Robbie Ray. Over 100 pitches in 5 innings. He gave up 4 hits and 2 runs, walked 2, struck out 5. And Justin Jameson dialed in on his Fox Sports Go app watching the game. How cool is that?
We go from a scout's dream to a guy that would have a hard time getting signed to a minor league contract. He showed up with the fastball that Brad Ziegler has, 39 years old. He averages about 84, 83 miles an hour on the fastball, the slowest in baseball. Yet, over a decade, he's got a career earned run average under 3.
Guy's been around a long time.
Relies a lot on defense behind him. And you know the old theory, Tom, you either throw above the hitting speed or below the hitting speed, and Ziegler obviously below.
Soft one hopper. Ahmed the pirouette. 1 gone against Ziegler here in the 6th in his 2-2 game. Now the question becomes, if you get a base runner in this inning, or 2 of them, you know, you get down to Harvey's spot. Harvey's right around 100 pitches, but he's coming off a very impressive 1-2-3 inning against 3, 4, and 5 in their lineup. The Diamondbacks will have 6, 7, and 8 coming up in the 7th inning. Does Jim Riggleman keep Matt Harvey in the game? He's thrown well enough to stay in there. That's for sure. And he let DeSclafani go 7. Of course, he was working on far fewer pitches than Harvey at this point in the game.
Well, you know, you can't complain about your pitchers not going deep in the game unless you give them an opportunity to do so. Nobody warming up, I don't believe, in the Reds bullpen. So.
No, but Lorenzen's ready, and
okay.
I'm sure that once you got to 2 outs in the inning, maybe you see him up and throwing again. He's at least ready. Irvin with a run-scoring double. His last time up and scored the tying run on the hit by Harvey.
Hardest hit ball of the night by the Reds. Hanging slider and was all over it.
Well, that was a nice piece of hitting right there. He waited back on that pitch and shot it hard the other way, but right at the first baseman, 2 down. I know you've really been impressed by Irvin. I mean, even going back, Chris, to the Vladimir Valentin days. Similar.
Well, you do have to wait on that pitch. There's certainly a way to do that, and he doesn't usually hit the ball that on the ground to the right side. That shows you how unusual the offerings of Brad Ziegler are.
Into center field, a base hit by Brandon Dixon.
So 3 ground balls in the inning, 1 goes for a base hit.
That'll bring Casale to the plate. He has a hit in 2 trips. Ziegler is racked up 62 saves back in his closing days with Arizona, and that's the 5th most in franchise history. They brought him back just a couple of weeks ago, you may remember, from the Marlins. It's a guy that, you know, they're familiar with. They know what he's all about. They know what he can do, what he can't do, and he certainly, you know, further fortifies a, statistically anyway, the best bullpen from an earned run average standpoint in the entire league. And this will be the final out of the inning. We go to the 7th, tied at 2. Home run since coming over from Minnesota. 2-0. Didn't last long though. After a hit batsman to start the 4th inning, Suarez would score all the way from first on a double by Phillip Ervin. And then with 2 outs, Matt Harvey, who at the time was 0 for 30 with the Reds this season as a batter, got his first base hit to drive in a tying run. And it is still Harvey on the mound, Mr. Welsh, as the Diamondbacks bat here in the top of the 7th inning.
I'm glad to see that. I mean, he's only got 94 pitches, not 194 pitches, so he's right in the middle of the game. Jim Riggleman says, you know what, This is your inning right here. He is due as the first batter up when the Reds bat in the bottom of the inning.
On the ground, Scooter to the few paces to his right, and will take care of Marte. Hard hit ball. Harvey, this is his longest outing since he went 6 2/3 innings in Atlanta. That was 7 starts ago, the final week of June. It's the second time this year he has pitched into the 7th inning. The last time he completed 7 innings, you've got to go back to April of last year with the Mets in a start against the Washington Nationals. April the 21st was the last time that Matt Harvey went 7 full innings in a major league start. And there's a base hit into left field by Ahmed. He's going to make a big turn, but well done by Herrera, getting to that ball quickly and firing it back into the infield. His first start as a pro in left field here tonight.
Yeah, the ball hit hard down there, and Herrera's got he's been all over the place tonight, but look how he fields that ball, almost like an infielder. Fields it and throws almost in one motion. Ahmed definitely thinking about 2 right there.
Well, the Reds have action, double barrel action. The right-hander David Hernandez, the left-hander, of course, is Amir Garrett. And a double play ball here. There's one, and Harvey, for the first time since April of last year, 7 complete innings. Boy, he's looked good tonight. Can the Reds get him a lead and a win? Thanks to our friends from Klosterman Bakery, you can get half-price Reds tickets. We have the live mascot races, face painters, and so much more. Kids 14 and younger tomorrow get a Luis Castillo fathead. Those are cool. Thanks to Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Log on to Reds.com for tickets. Back-to-back outstanding starts. DeSclafani last night, Matt Harvey tonight.
Well, we showed you the stat at the very onset of the ball game about how successful the Reds are when they hold the opposition to 4 runs or less. think they're what, 37-4.
Yep. Going back to the beginning of May.
Yep. So Harvey did his job, and maybe the Reds offense can get him a run right here.
Struck out 7, walked only 1, allowed 5 hits and 2 runs, and now a native of the Buckeye State. We talked about him last night. Andrew Chafin takes over on the mound for the D-backs following Ray and Ziegler.
Western Reserve High School in Collins, Ohio, and Kent State University.
Still makes his home in Ohio, and in fact, some of the Diamondbacks guys were talking. He and his wife just had a little baby, and baby came to the ballpark for the first time last night. So it's pretty cool. So now the batter Mason Williams hitting for Harvey. Not only did Harvey pitch well, he knocked in the tying run with a base hit in this game. On swinging is Williams. You know, you might be wondering, why in the world would you be using a left-handed batter against a left-handed pitcher as a pinch hitter to begin the inning? The simple answer is the Reds do not have a left-handed. Let me start again. They do not have a right-handed batter available off of their bench, except for the switch-hitting backup catcher Tucker Barnhart. So they don't have a straight-up right-handed batter to pinch hit. Billy showing bunt, ball 1. He had a great bunt last night on the suicide squeeze. It ultimately led to 2 runs scoring after not only the perfect bunt for a hit, but then the throwing error. And 1 on Billy Hamilton. Brewers lead the Braves. That game's in the 8th inning, 4-2. Told you the Cubs lost earlier today. Dodgers in front of Colorado. They're already in the bottom of the 5th inning. 2-0 Dodgers in Denver.
Well, one of the reasons, Tom, remember that the Reds are playing basically 1 bench player short because they've got a 6-man rotation.
And Hamilton aboard with a base hit. So that'll make things interesting with 1 out in a 2-2 game. Billy with 27 stolen bases has been thrown out 4 times. Diamondbacks are going to make a double switch with the right-handed batting Jose Peraza coming up. They're going to bring in their flame-throwing right-hander Archie Bradley, who just celebrated a birthday yesterday. He'll be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. 2-2 game. Hamilton aboard. Top of the order coming up when we return. Billy Hamilton. And with Peralta coming up, then a right-handed batter behind him. The Diamondbacks will bring on their very talented and very popular young right-hander Archie Bradley from the bullpen.
And Okie from Muskogee really drafted in the first round in 2011 out of high school, Muskogee, Oklahoma. He had a great year last year, 1.7 earned run average in 63 games, having a very good year again this year. Ryan Murphy takes over behind the plate.
You mentioned last night they have 3 catchers on this Arizona team. 1-0 on Peraza. Hamilton not running. 2 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, I see what Bradley's trying to do. He just stayed downstairs trying to keep Peraza from elevating the baseball. They're trying to get a double play right here.
Surprised at all we're not seeing Hamilton 3 pitches now in motion, or no?
No, I don't think so, because Bradley's got a very quick move to the plate, and he's been throwing all fastballs. You want to get into a count where you're hoping to get a breaking pitch from the pitcher.
Now, we've not seen a lot of hitting and running going on with the Reds this season since Jim Riggleman anyway has taken over, but this would be a count if you're going to think about doing it. Bradley has to throw a strike here.
A little shorter lead here by Hamilton. I wonder if that may be a giveaway.
Not running. Fly ball to right center field. 2 down. I'm really surprised, even with a quick delivery to the plate. I mean, this is the most dangerous base stealer in the major leagues. And it's a 2-2 game. Joey Votto apparently will come on and pinch hit now for Dilson Herrera. Naturally, a big round of applause for Votto. Against Bradley, Votto 2 for 8 with a strikeout and a home run. Well, I'm just stunned we've not seen Hamilton run. You have a catcher that just came into the game. And probably with Votto at the plate, you're not going to see him run now, because a lot of managers don't want to waste the potential of the runner getting thrown out, and now you maybe don't use Votto anymore, and naturally there he goes. They have no chance to throw this guy out. 28 stolen bases for Hamilton. No chance.
Well, maybe he didn't want to run with Peraza up there, because if he did get thrown out, you know, you still have Votto on the bench that he would be coming up to pinch hit. And you might lose his spot. But he gets a big jump right there, and you're right, no chance at all by the Diamondbacks. And they will intentionally walk Votto.
And of course, you know, that's the flip side of having a guy run, is what we just saw. But they go ahead and make the decision.
You do follow it up with Scooter Gennett.
That's right.
So you still have left-handed hitter against right-handed pitcher.
Scooter 1 for 6 in his career with a strikeout and a walk against Bradley. Breaking ball, strike one. Boy, just threw a fastball at 96 right by him to get ahead 0-2.
Bradley added a little bit when he needed it.
Came with another fastball that runs way in. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Go ahead run is Hamilton out there at second base. 2-2 game, last of the 7th. These are the situations all year long where Jeanette has just been as good as anybody in baseball. His numbers with 2 outs and runners in scoring position have been among the very best in all of Major League Baseball this entire year. Mighty tall order against Bradley, especially behind 1 and 2. Did not see Bradley in the game here last night. We mentioned he celebrated a birthday last night. Here is the 1-2 to Jeanette. And a liner into center field. It'll be caught by Pollock to end the inning. Oh, goodness. Right on the button. Right on the button. Still tied at 2.
For more on what this means to the Hall. Beta pin since 1961 Rawlings Gold Glove from local Reds fans Dave and Michelle Grove. For more on what this means to the Hall of Fame and Museum, we caught up with Executive Director Rick Walls.
Throughout the years, we've had many gold gloves on display. Johnny Bench loaned all 10 of them at one time, but we've never had one that's going to become a permanent part of our collection. And that's important to us. You know, our mission is to preserve history and celebrate it and showcase it for the fans. To actually acquire one and control it, it's pretty special. And having Vada Pensons, it's his only gold glove, and it happened in a year the Reds went to the World Series. That makes it even more special.
Shannon, thank you very much. Rick Wall's good man, the pride of Athens, Ohio. Brandon Dixon will take over in left field. Joey Votto will stay in the game after pinch hitting a moment ago and play first base. And now we get a look at David Hernandez on the mound following Matt Harvey. 2-2 game. Arizona bats in the top of the 8th inning. Murphy just came on, so he's batting in the number 9 spot. He'll be followed by Peralta and then Goldschmidt. One ball, one strike. Hernandez, of course, a couple of go-rounds pitching for Arizona, including last year. They reacquired him last year for their stretch run, after he had gotten off to such a great start last season with the Angels, and Arizona brought him back in. Been a very valuable member on a couple of very good Arizona Diamondbacks teams.
Well, overall, he's pitched 274 games as an Arizona Diamondback. I mean, he has been a durable guy. 480 games in his major league career. Missed 2014 to injury, but other than that, he's been able to answer the bell. I'm talking about 65, 70 games a year.
Straight up in the air. You know, it's amazing about Hernandez. I mean, we've talked so frequently about how well he has pitched after, you know, he was injured in spring training, and it took him a long time to get back, nearly a couple of full months to get back with a big league club, but the numbers speak for themselves. But how about not having walked a batter since July the 3rd? Wow. 14 1/3 innings. He struck out 10 batters, 12. This is his 13th appearance now since the last time he walked a batter. Boy, Joe Luckham's vacation must have been awful. I mean, brutal.
He had all those stats ready for you.
I'm telling you. And I mean, well, I can tell by looking at him, he wasn't in the sun very much. And they tell me the sun shines a lot in the Caribbean. I'm not sure you would know that, Chris. You know, you're the traveling man, all points around the globe. I am told, though, the sun shines a lot. 0-2 on David Peralta.
They want to pass on a little bit of good news, Tom. We were talking about all the amateur baseball and softball teams that have done well here coming out of Cincinnati. Congratulations again to the Midland Redskins. Back-to-back national champions of Connie Mack baseball. They're out in Farmington, New Mexico. They won against the D Elite, a team out of Dallas. And congratulations to the coach Dave Evans and the rest of those young guys out there that have represented the city of Cincinnati so well for so many decades.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The Midland Redskins. Of course, that entire empire started by Joe Hayden out in Anderson Township. Good man. Good man. Went to school with all his kids out there.
Boy, he just loved amateur baseball.
3-2 Arizona.
Well, this guy's got a nice swing here.
It's the 20th home run this season for Peralta. And he breaks a 2-2 tie, and that was a laser to the seats in right field. And there's a rocket down the left field line off the bat of Goldschmidt. And he'll go in with a double. So now Danny Darwin going to come out and visit with David Hernandez. I'm sure Hernandez is really disappointed. I mean, and obviously, 2-2 game, you come in, you give up a home run, but you like to show the team you pitched for most recently that, hey, you may have made a mistake by, not bringing me back. And David makes his home out there now.
And they may have wanted to bring him back, but it was the Reds that came to him with a 2-year deal.
That's right.
So that may have been just a better deal overall, and maybe he thought with the Reds bullpen the way it was, he would fit in better here, maybe get more high leverage situations, and he has been just as dependable as can be. The home run he gave up here to David Peralta, only the third home run he's given up now in about 45 innings.
All right, so now work to do to keep this from becoming a wider margin than just one. A.J. Pollock to face Hernandez with Goldschmidt at second, 1 in, 1 out. Back to the mound, and Hernandez thought about it. He's going to take the out. He thought about it. 2 down, and now you have Escobar coming up. He is a switch hitter. And that's all for Hernandez. Amir Garrett will come on from the bullpen. And he will face Escobar and turn him around to bat from the right side of the plate. A rare outing for Hernandez where he gives up anything. But the tie-breaking home run off the bat of Peralta makes it 3-2 Arizona. We're back in a moment. That man, David Peralta, with 1 out here in the 8th. Goldschmidt followed with a double. He's now at third with 2 outs, and on the pitch is Amir Garrett.
Now they want to turn the switch hitter around, and I feel, I guess, that Escobar not as accomplished right-handed as he is left-handed.
Certainly not the Thunder. I mean, against left-handed pitching, his slugging percentage is only .370 roughly. Against right-handers, it's up to .570. We saw earlier in the game what kind of thunder he has from the left side. He had a home run, a 2-run home run, and quickly Garrett coming in throwing strikes. Ahead 0-2.
Now that would be under the category of what have you done for me lately. Those stats you just read, career-wise, he's actually more powerful right-handed than left-handed.
Wow.
Slightly, but not. But still, that's the way. And I would imagine that, you know, he probably started out as a right-handed hitter and then adopted to becoming a left-handed switch hitter at some point.
Well, we were about 40 minutes late getting started here tonight. And we are in the 8th inning. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Escobar. This guy's just a tough out. Seems like every time he's come to the plate in the first 2 games of this series, it has been a lengthy at bat. He's fallen behind in counts as he did here. The next thing you know, you look up, it's 2-2, it's 3-2. And here it is, 3-2. Straight up in the air, so a nice job by Amir Garrett. He will take care of Escobar. Reds have Suarez, Irvin, Dixon coming up down a run.
Here on Fox Sports Ohio for the Reds Live program show, brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing, 30 minutes before every game. And tomorrow's probables, Luis Castillo at 6 and 9 goes for the Reds against Zach Godley. Get things started at 12:30 and stop by the Reds Live pregame set. It is Sign Sunday. Come on, make your favorite sign and you end up on TV. Again, 12:30 is the pregame show. Come on out and see us, guys.
All right, Pick will do just that. Archie Bradley to start the bottom of the 8th inning. He's now the pitcher of record in this game after the Diamondbacks get the home run by Peralta after completing the bottom of the 7th inning. Suarez, a 10-game hit streak on the line. He's 0 for 2 tonight. He's been hit by a pitch, scored a run. He'll be followed by Irvin and then Brandon Dixon. We get any further than that, Casale. And Suarez hit by a pitch. Second time tonight.
if you're a hitter and you're going to get hit by a pitch, it might as well be like that, right off the end of your shirt. Really ruffled the material a little bit, and that's about it. So he gets his base. Now a chance for Phillip Ervin to see if he can't catch up to a Archie Bradley fastball.
All righty, Ervin with the tying run at first. Oh, he had a good rip at that first pitch.
That was in his wheelhouse.
Yep.
He likes the ball up right there.
An excuse me swing. Going to be a bang bang play, and got him. For the tying run, moves into scoring position. Tried to hold off on that swing, and he's an out. Here comes Dixon. Escobar is just a nice player, man.
You know, he took an extra moment right there because when he first reached into his glove, you could tell he didn't have a good grip. So rather than trying to rush the throw, he made sure he had it and put a little extra something on it.
Right now, a chance for Dixon. He singled his last time up. Breaking ball in the dirt. That's a really nice block right there by Murphy. John Ryan Murphy. You don't think he has a little Irish in his blood, do you? John Ryan Murphy?
I would say so. I mean, if he wasn't recruited by Notre Dame, there's something wrong, right?
You got that right. Or Xavier.
Indeed.
On the outside corner, 1-1 strike on Dixon. Well, the last time the Diamondbacks scored, the only other inning they scored, they got the 2-run home run from Escobar. The Reds came right back to tie it with 2 runs in the bottom of that same inning. So the Diamondbacks score here in the top of the 8th. The Reds trying to answer in the last of the 8th. Boy. When he decides to cut it loose, man, there's a lot of movement along with good velocity. This guy's probably, you know, for the younger fans, the most popular player on the Diamondbacks team. They just love this guy. He's got a lot to say. He's a lot of fun, loves to laugh. You know, Goldschmidt is the face of the franchise. But for the younger generation, you know, Bradley, he's their guy. It's not always been smooth sailing for him. You know, at one time a huge prospect and a starting pitcher and all that kind of thing. And, you know, will he ever be their closer? That remains to be seen. There's been a lot of debate about that. But in the role they've had him in now for the last 2 years, he's been very good. That's a nasty pitch right there.
Well, it goes to show you how you just don't need a good closer. You need a good 1-2 punch at the end of the ball game in a high leverage situation. And Bradley with that knuckle curve, look at the spin of that pitch. I mean, basically 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock and the ball goes straight down. Wow. So the Diamondbacks will probably pitch Brad Boxberger as a closer in this ball game.
Yep.
Unless the Reds are able to do something right here with 2 outs. But oftentimes it's Archie Bradley that gets the toughest part of the order here in the 8th.
It's 2 really nice plays in this inning by the Arizona catcher on balls in the dirt from Bradley. Big chance here for Casale. Singled his first time up, has since struck out and tapped out. Catcher threw him out on a half swing back in the 6th inning. That pitch almost hit him. Tucker Barnhart stands in the on-deck circle. Both starters giving up 2 runs, although Harvey was even better in some of the other numbers, went much deeper into the game than Ray. Harvey went 7, Ray went 5. Riano the count. Ball 4. So he's hit a batter and walked a batter. And here comes Tucker Barnhart. And now Mike Butcher comes to the mound. TJ McFarland, a left-hander, is throwing in the Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen. He's ready to go. All righty, so Barnhart with a big chance. In there, strike. One ball, one strike, tying run at second, lead run at first, and a fastball off the outside corner misses Bradley. A long look in. Did not like that call by Jerry Lane. Barnhart batting for Garrett. See Bradley get really upset out there on the mound. When he's had his problems, it's been when times like this happen and he has a hard time throwing strikes. This might be his last batter either way. They have the left-hander ready in the bullpen. Probably would prefer to see Hamilton as a right-handed batter next should this inning get that far. 3-1, big pitch for Tucker.
Good hack on a pitch that he was looking for.
3-2 pitch. Runners go. Fouled out of play. Again, the runners get started. Casale at first and Suarez at second base. Into left center field, this one will get down. The Reds are going to take the lead on a double by Tucker Barnhart. 4-3 Cincinnati.
Boy, what an exciting brand of baseball. He gets a fastball up after fouling off the 3-1 pitch and just lines it right into the left center field gap.
Very enthusiastic crowd here tonight. It's been a fun crowd. And Tucker fired up. So McFarland, the left-hander, on from the bullpen. We're back in a moment. Double by Tucker Barnhart. And the Reds have scored 2 with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th inning. To take a 1-run lead, McFarland, a left-hander, to face Billy Hamilton.
Archie Bradley only gave up 1 hit, but that was the double by Tucker Barnhart. The base on balls and the hit by pitch to start the inning as Suarez got it all going. Kind of gets this crowd all juiced up for the post-game concert.
Billy didn't like that call, and of course springing to his feet down in that bullpen is the Reds closer who picked up his 22nd save of the year last night, Raisel Iglesias.
Power going over the lineup that he will face. 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah, Souza Jr., Marte, and Ahmed. Base hit center field will plate another run. Ball is dropped out there by Pollock. Not sure he'd had a play anyway, with Billy with a big hit. Two hits tonight for Billy Hamilton.
I'm always curious why teams want to turn around Billy Hamilton, although it just may have been a situation where they had ridden Archie Bradley enough. Hamilton is a natural right-handed hitter. In fact, the ball goes up the middle. It gets McFarland on his pitching thumb. And Pollock, trying to come in and make a miraculous play, ends up having that ball go under his glove. So there is a two-run cushion. Not exactly the way the Diamondbacks expected this first couple of games in a 9-game road trip to start off. But exactly the way the Reds wanted their 9-game homestand to start off.
Well, look, you know, the last road trip was rough. It was really rough. They not only lost games, they did not look good playing games. Fundamentally, they had a lot of issues, a lot of frustration on that trip. Pitcher's going to stay in the game. So this is a nice way to begin this homestand, indeed, against good teams.
Yeah.
Arizona tied for first place. Cleveland alone atop the American League Central. The Giants have slipped a little bit here lately, but they're still in the mix of things for the wild card. Then you go to Milwaukee. You go to Chicago. So this is a stretch of a lot of really, really tough games against good competition. And now you have a 2-run lead with 3 outs to go. This 8th inning not over quite yet. There goes Hamilton. Don't even throw it. Well, when he's making things happen, man, he's making things happen. There's no doubt you wish you saw it more often, but golly day, those nights you see it, it's something to watch. And the defense is there every night. And now Hamilton will be intentionally walked.
Or
Peraza, I beg your pardon. Well, when's the last time you saw Peraza walk to get to Joey Votto? I don't care if it's lefty and lefty or not.
I don't get that one at all.
Well, I mean, you know, Chris, this is another big sabermetric franchise, and at least this year, you know, they look at the numbers. Now, historically in his career, Votto has more than held his own against left-handed pitchers. This year has been by far his worst year against left-handed pitching. I mean, by a long shot. He is batting .237. And what does he do? He shoots it the other way. They'll wave around Billy. Here comes the throw to the plate. He's in there. And Votto makes him pay. I don't think there are 5 guys in baseball that score on that base hit right there.
Well, you're right about that. I'm not so sure that there's a spreadsheet that would convince me to walk Jose Peraza to face Joey Votto.
No doubt about it. I mean, this has been one of the top 3 or 4 hitters in baseball for nearly a decade. All right, Reds are happy about it. It's now a 3-run lead, a 4-run 8th inning. Strike 1 to Jeanette. 3 of the runs charged to Archie Bradley. Still 2 on for Scooter Jeanette. I tell you, you'd have to do a lot of digging. And I don't even know how you'd find out. Joel's already on it, I know, up here, our statistician, Joel Luckett. about the last time somebody was intentionally walked to get to Joey Votto.
Yeah.
That computer might blow up. I'm with you, Chris. I mean, you said it before, before the base hit, so it's first guessing, not second guessing. And you said it best after the hit. I would take that spreadsheet and I would stick it in a trash can and find the nearest lighter. If somebody tried to tell me I'm going to walk Jose Peraza, and it's nothing against Jose Peraza, he has the fourth most hits in the league, to face Joey Votto.
Oh well, we've had the pleasure of watching Joey Votto hit for many, many years.
The last time it was done, you want to know? 2008. But the big blow in this inning, Tucker Barnhart. The Reds score 4 with 2 outs. 3 outs away from back-to-back wins. Brought to you by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. By Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Ram, it's the no comparison event at your Ram dealer. Don't miss the great deals on Ram today. Raisel Iglesias tries to nail it down. Reds get 4 runs on 2 out hits from Barnhart to drive in 2. Hamilton, an RBI single. Votto, a single to drive in a run. And now Iglesias, soft liner, ouch. My old broadcast partner used to say, the second you heard a bat shatter like that around your knuckles, oh dear.
Well, Iglesias can do that to you.
Yes, he can. Patel Marte. Strike called on the outside corner. On the ground is short. One more to go for Rysel. Hey, look, this is another example of a stat we brought up last night. We talked about it in the pregame today, where when the Reds get good pitching, and look, I know many of you are saying, look, you could say that about anybody, and you'd be right. But the bottom line is, since the beginning of May, when the Reds really started to turn their season around, at least the way it was going at the time, when they have gotten pitching that is good enough to hold the opposition to 4 runs or fewer, they have the best, not one of the best, they have the best winning percentage in all of Major League Baseball. And tonight that record would go to what? 38-4? That is a .905 winning percentage. 38-4. And the starting pitching in the first 2 games of this series has been as good as it's been in back-to-back games for this Reds team all year long. I mean, the only mistake Harvey made was the 2-run home run that he gave up. Swinging a foul ball back by Ahmed. And DeSclafani, of course, was just spectacular. You can't throw the ball any better than he did last night.
And tomorrow the Reds will run out Luis Castillo, who's coming off a string of very good outings himself.
That's all she wrote. A 1-2-3. 9th inning. Iglesias save number 23. And the Reds will go for the sweep tomorrow against the Diamondbacks after a 4-run 8th inning to win it tonight. 6-3 the final. We're back with more in a moment.
Nasty dog. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.